1 in 8 women in Alberta will have breast cancer. You need to advocate for yourself. You need to do the self-breast exams. Keep track of your menstrual cycle. I know these things sound silly, but if you don't have that information, you can't share it with your doctor, and knowledge is power. So in order to protect yourself, please do your self-breast exams and don't think, oh, it could never happen to me, because 1 in 8, 1 in 4, those are amazing odds for winning the lottery. But the opposite is also true. It's likely, sadly, to happen to you. So,
oh my God.
Pay attention to your body and advocate for yourself.
Welcome to the Legacy Podcast, proudly presented by MCG Career College. I'm your host, Raisa Afrida, and today we're honored to have with us Crystal Hanson, a young adult breast cancer survivor whose story embodies resilience, hope, and purpose. After facing the heartbreak of an ectopic pregnancy and undergoing a double mastectomy, Crystal turned her pain into power, dedicating her career to raising vital funds for Wellspring, Alberta, supporting others navigating similar battles. The conversation comes at a special time, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, as we highlight the importance of early detection, self-exams, and the role of medical imaging in saving lives. Join us for a heartfelt discussion about courage, motherhood, healing, and legacy. Crystal, how are you today?
Hi, Raisa. I'm wonderful. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm doing great. I cannot wait to hear your story today, but I will start with our first question first. I do have a lot of things to ask you because I think this is an amazing way to educate others who might be going through the same journey as you, or just for people whose family member might have gone through the same journey.
Yes.
So I'll start first about your journey. So your story is incredibly powerful. Could you take us back when you first discovered something was wrong, and what was that moment like for you, and how did you find the strength to face it head on?
Yeah, absolutely. My story is a little bit different than most women. I'd say when I very first noticed there was something wrong was unfortunately very soon after my ectopic pregnancy ruptured. In January 2022, my pregnancy ruptured, and very soon after, when I did my next self-breast exam, I noticed a lump in my breast. I had been really adamant about finishing or completing a self-breast exam several times a month because cancer does run in my family. There's been all sorts of different types, but I've been hyper aware. So I've always made it a practice to do a self-exam regularly. Mm-hmm. So I noticed it really early. A few weeks later, there was this lump. Reached out to my doctors, and it started to grow, and I said, hey, I think, I might need to go in for some imaging. Mm-hmm. And it was my obstetrician that I reached out to first because I had just had that pregnancy loss. She told me, sadly, that because I was no longer pregnant and I didn't have a baby, that I wasn't able to be her patient anymore. Oh, no. And so I had to seek another medical professional in order to get that imaging. So my first introduction to a new family doctor was me saying, hi, I'm Crystal. I'm here because I found a lump in my breast and I am concerned about cancer.
Mm-hmm. And how old were you that time?
I was 36.
Wow. Very, very young.
It's young. It's super young. Yeah. You're not expecting that.
Oh my God. Well, I do want to ask you something that after experiencing both loss and double mastectomy, what helped you rebuild emotionally and also physically during your recovery?
Oh my goodness. Family. Family is the key. Family and having a really good support system. Mm-hmm. So for each of those, it was a little bit of a different community. after my pregnancy loss, I realized I was really going to need some counseling, some therapy and support. And I found an amazing organization called PILSC. It's Pregnancy and Infant Loss Support Center. So I was able to be connected to a counselor who helped me a lot through my grieving process. And at the same time, helped me realize that my fears about what I was feeling were legitimate and that I should advocate for myself. So having that support through therapy with PILSC was incredible. And then after the double mastectomy, it was a completely different community and support group. It started off with just my family, my husband. He is Prince Charming. He took care of me for my 9-month recovery. It was lengthy. My immediate family member friends, they took care of my children. They brought meals. They came and cleaned my house. Just amazing support. And then eventually I did feel that I needed more support, and I found Wellspring Alberta. Wellspring Alberta is a cancer support charity that's designed to help you deal with the non-medical effects of cancer. And that was key in my recovery.
Can you explain a little bit more about this organization? Because I know that you're working there at this moment, and I see amazing posts on LinkedIn about you donating your hair for the breast cancer awareness and so much more. Can you share a little bit about that so our audience can, look them up in case they are in need?
Oh my gosh, thank you for asking. Wellspring Alberta is the only cancer support charity that covers any type of cancer across the entire province of Alberta. So Wellspring's vision is to ensure that no one has to face cancer alone. We very specifically deal with the non-medical side effects of cancer. So there's 6 different pillars. Those programs and courses that we offer go between the 6 of them. There's education for exercise. There's art therapy that'll include music or watercolor painting, all sorts of things. Nutrition, there's a peer support element. So if you want to talk to someone else who's been in the same situation, or if you're a caregiver, like my husband was for me, and you're struggling, you're also eligible for Wellspring services.
Wow,
so it's a cancer patient, their caregiver, and their children. So my children were eligible for Wellspring services. So it's just an amazing way to connect, find community, and people who really get it.
That's so nice to know that. You know what? I will definitely I will be looking into this, and I would love to share this information with all of our students and instructors too.
Yes.
Because as a college, we also teach sonography, right? I think they will benefit from it a lot.
Absolutely.
Now, I do want to ask you something. I know that you are big on building awareness.
Yes.
So you often emphasize the importance of self-exam and early detection. What message would you share with young women, just like who were in your situation, who might think breast cancer can't happen to them?
Yes. I mean, historically, looking back, it was our aunties and our grandmas who were getting breast cancer. It was a little bit older women, in their 50s and 60s. I don't know that it was necessarily taught in, let's say, sex education, that a self-breast exam is important from the very moment that you develop breasts. Cancer can also happen to men. So it's not just women who need to be doing a self-breast exam. Men, I'm putting this out there too, you really need to know your own body. If you don't know your own body, and you're not able to really verbalize the changes that you're feeling or experiencing, it makes it almost impossible to advocate for yourself. So what I would say is start your exams early, do them at a minimum once per month. And if you don't know, am I doing this right? Is this, what we should do? Look it up. There's a million tutorials online by really educated people who can help. You don't have to wait for your doctor to tell you how to do it, or your auntie or your mother. Teach yourself. You have to advocate for yourself. And I'd also say it's really important to know the changes that are happening with your menstrual cycle. That sounds weird, but breasts change throughout the month. So if you are not keeping track of where you are in your cycle and you perform your exam, you might see differences from one month to the next. So I'd say do it on the same day of the month if you can remember, and try to keep track of any changes. Now, privacy is super important, so you want to choose how you do this carefully, but keep track of your menstrual cycle and keep track of when you're doing your exams and note changes. That way, later on, if you're experiencing an ectopic pregnancy, for example, and the doctor says, what was the date of your last menstrual cycle? You can tell them with confidence when it was. And that if you had noticed any abnormal pain or that type of thing, you have notes and you can go back to your history and really give a good idea of what's going on in your body.
Wow, Crystal, you know what? You just educated me with some of the things. Even I'm almost 34 years old, and I did not know these things that I could do by myself without going to doctors.
Yeah.
I think the way we think, many of us, is when something is wrong, that's when you go to doctor, but that's not the case. That's the awareness part comes in, that try to see if you can prevent it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I would like to ask a little bit more about Wellspring. How has your work with Wellspring Alberta allowed you to transform your lived experience into meaningful impact for others facing cancer?
Yes. The other day, one of my dear colleagues and friends retired. She was one of the original OG Wellspring creators, and I told her at her retirement party something that's really meaningful to me, and that's when I first put in my application and started the interview process with Wellspring, it was in an effort to give myself a safe place to land. I had realized that in myself, I had a tendency as the eldest daughter of 10 kids to parenticize and put myself last. I'd say I've always made myself to be the strong person. Don't allow myself to cry. Don't allow myself to dwell on what's sad, that I just need to, for everyone in my family, be the strong one, push forward, and don't dwell on these things. But in this instance, after I lost my pregnancy, I realized that in order to really grow and not hold this toxic pain inside, that I needed to speak about what had happened to me, which is totally opposite of what I've ever done in my life. So I decided to give myself a platform to speak, that I was going to put myself out there, and if anybody mentioned pregnancy loss, be willing to share my story. If anybody mentioned breast cancer, be willing to share my story. So being here at Wellspring, especially in the fundraising department, I have a unique opportunity to share my story, my cancer story, my husband's story as a caregiver, and my kids' stories to people who can really make a difference as far as finances go. Because Wellspring is a charity. I mean, they offer 70 classes, 100% free to cancer patients. And the only way that's possible is if people like me on the fundraising team go out into the community and make connections with donors, philanthropists, and people who have the means to fund these programs. So I'm able to talk about my story, which kind of is a little bit of therapy in a selfish way, but I'm able to use that story to make an impact on people who can help fund this vital programming. So it's win-win-win. Win for the community, win for me, win for those philanthropists who are looking for a good cause. And it's just been such a blessing to be here.
That's amazing. Oh my God, Crystal. I love how passionate you are when you speak about not only your journey, but the organization that is helping thousands of Albertans.
Yes.
And, this podcast is all about giving the platform to those who have made a positive impact in the community. As I was talking to you before the podcast, that MCG stands for Making Communities Great. We're always looking out for those amazing organizations, especially non-for-profit organizations, that are doing things for free for so many other Albertans and Canadians. Now, I do want to ask you a different type of question.
Okay.
This question is about, because, we teach medical imaging at MCG. We're the only private college in Alberta that teaches diagnostic medical sonography.
That's crazy.
Now, the people who are sonographers, and there's very few of them in Canada, they play a key role in early cancer detection. From your experience, how vital are these medical imaging professionals in helping women detect and manage breast cancer?
Cut.
Sorry.
We just have to put a SD card. 1, 2, 3, action.
Well, Crystal, now I do want to ask you a different question. It is more, I would say, technical, but also your lived experience.
Yeah.
At MCG Career College, we teach diagnostic medical sonography, and we're the only regulated career college in Alberta that teaches this program. And I know that sonographers play a vital role in, women's health when it comes to imaging. If you can recall, and I'm sure you can you share how your experience was, maybe with a sonographer or an ultrasound tech?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, because I was so young at 36, you are not recommended to go actually and get regular mammograms. I had to be referred, and it was so vital in getting diagnosed in breast cancer for me because I was so young. So I had felt the lump, and my doctor, when I finally did find a family physician, said, absolutely, we need to send you in for imaging. Without the imaging, there wouldn't have been a cancer diagnosis. So it's the key. Sonographers make that happen. You have to have them in order to get that imaging. So I'm so grateful that they are trained and really know what to look for. Breasts are very different for everyone. So you have to have really good training to do that. I found my experience to be really good. I think the clinic staff from start to finish was amazing. They really tried to help me feel safe and comfortable, and they did a great job. But one thing that I would say is, unintentionally, they scared me. Keeping in mind that my carcinoma was 16 centimeters, which is outrageously long. When she did the imaging, the first technician's face went white as a sheet. And I could see fear in her eyes. And it lingered. And then eventually you get called back for more mammograms and more ultrasounds, like a biopsy guided with an ultrasound even. And when I did that imaging, again, the staff was amazing. But as I was leaving, right after the imaging, I came across the technician in the hallway a little bit in tears, and she looked at me in a empathetic way and said that it was bad.
Oh no.
And that left an image on my husband and myself. We hadn't seen an oncologist yet, and so it was just, that's all we had to go on. It was kind of scary. So I'd say that you guys are also in a real position of emotional support, and that making sure to, I guess, hide your emotions is probably hard, but super important. And maybe keeping comments like it's bad to yourself, sadly.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. And definitely, this message will be passed on to our current students, our alumni, and our future students through this podcast. That we do play a big role when it comes to training our sonographers. That hey, if it's a bad news, now you know what to do, right? Wow, that was tough. So you did not meet your doctor for weeks after that?
It takes a really long time to be connected to an oncologist. There are, unfortunately, lengthy wait lists here in Alberta. So yeah, before you can be officially diagnosed, you have to have that biopsy. Part of the biopsy is the ultrasound. So that happened before the oncologist. Then the tissue samples get sent off. And then they figure, oh, there's definitely cancer, and that's when you meet up with your oncologist. So there was several weeks between having that ultrasound guided biopsy and meeting with an oncologist that I just lived in fear. The last words that I had ringing in my head were, "It's bad." And she was in tears, and I could sense that she didn't want to be malicious, but she saw that I, noticed her and reacted. I don't hold it against her in any means. It just happened, but just to be a little bit more cognizant, I'd say.
Well, I would say this is a learning curve. Thank you so much for sharing that experience and being so, truthful about that. I really respect your courage and your strength, and also your partner's strength during that time while you were waiting. Now, I do want to know about your journey of motherhood. So how has your journey through motherhood, healing, and advocacy shaped the way you view strength and compassion today?
That's a good question. I am so lucky that I had two handsome, healthy boys before my pregnancy loss. Unfortunately, they were quite young. My youngest was 18 months and the older son was about 11. So I had a toddler and a preteen, and motherhood really factored in. Losing the pregnancy was heartbreaking. We were so excited to expand our family after COVID. It was a really blue time, and we thought this is great, we'll expand. And when that didn't happen, it was hard to get past that, but we were able to. And I've lost my train of thought.
So Crystal, I do want to know more about your journey through motherhood. I know that you are a mom of 2 kids, and you went through this experience. Plus, on top, you are now doing advocacy. How is this going on so far?
Well, it's not a place that I ever expected to find myself in. But as a mother, I think that it's important. I was so lucky to have our 2 boys before that pregnancy loss. As a toddler and a preteen, the things that I was experiencing were really difficult, and I had to consider how I projected these things to my children. For those 2, I wanted to make sure to keep them informed and make sure that they felt safe and that they weren't super scared about what was going to happen. As far as the advocacy piece and motherhood, I have become a strong supporter of PILSC, the Pregnancy Infant Loss Support Center. I do the 5K every year. I love it. And if anybody talks about motherhood and loss, my advocacy piece there is being willing to share my story. As far as breast cancer and motherhood tied to advocacy, that one's also tricky. With a preteen, he understood cancer is serious. My 18-month-old, he was just barely learning how to talk. He only knew that mom had had surgery and that hugs and rough play were off limits, and it was really hard for him not to get his snuggles. I needed to keep in mind that the preteens' emotions were important. And with that, I made sure to connect him with young teens who had a cancer connection in their family. There is a child's cancer group called Kids Cancer Care that is incredible. He was able to go to Camp Kindle and take part in a summer camp there that was designed for children of cancer survivors or cancer patients. And just having that awareness and letting him join that community really helped. He was able to see that there's other kids out there whose moms have been through this. And you know what? For the most part, they've made it through okay. Their moms are okay, and he was able to get that support he needed. So I make sure to let people know that their kids are important and to find mental health help for them in whatever avenue that is, and to also let cancer patients know that their kids are welcome to our kid-friendly programming at Wellspring, so there's support for your children and for yourself.
Perfect. Oh my God. Thank you so much for sharing those resources with us. I'm sure some of us would be able to use them and reach out to those organizations if they need the help. Well, now, Crystal, I'm going to ask the last question and my most favorite question.
Okay.
Our podcast is named Legacy Podcast.
Yes.
So we would love to know, what is the one legacy that you want to leave behind for your future generations to follow?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, if it's okay, I'm going to actually, as part of this, ask you a question. If someone told you that you had a 1 in 8 chance of winning the lottery, how would that make you feel about your chances?
I think that would make me feel pretty excited.
Yes. Like 1 in 8. That's pretty good
that's
odds.
pretty good.
How about 1 in 4?
Oh my God, I would definitely do the lottery.
Right? You would be buying a bunch of tickets. I don't gamble, but I mean, those odds are incredible. Okay, so where does this tie in, Crystal? This is the Legacy Podcast, right? 1 in 4 pregnancies will end in miscarriage or loss. And 1 in 8 women in Alberta will have breast cancer.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
So my legacy is going to just be, you need to advocate for yourself. You need to do the self-breast exams. Keep track of your menstrual cycle. I know these things sound silly, but if you don't have that information, you can't share it with your doctor, and knowledge is power. So in order to protect yourself, please do your self-breast exams, and don't think, oh, it could never happen to me, because 1 in 8, 1 in 4, those are amazing odds for winning the lottery, but the opposite is also true. It's likely, sadly, to happen to you. So
oh my God.
Pay attention to your body and advocate for yourself.
Well, I cannot thank you enough, Crystal, for sharing not only the answer of this last question and give me a reality check, because I was getting really excited, and then I was like, what? Are you serious? I had no clue that there's so much, like, a higher chance of a woman getting, breast cancer or losing a pregnancy.
Yes.
I do want to thank you for all of your time, and okay, I'm gonna do it one more time.
I do want to thank you.
I do want to thank you for your time, and you have educated me and our audience tremendously. And I want to continue this conversation with collaboration with Wellspring in future. And I do want to tell you that I cannot explain how happy I am to see you, not only as a survivor, but as a champion, and being the voice of so many other women, maybe who does not have this platform. So thank you so much for speaking not only from your heart, but also on behalf of them. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Hello, everyone. That was a very emotional and very heartwarming podcast. If you have learned anything from that podcast, make sure you're actually doing the right thing. If you are a woman behind the camera, please do self-exam. It doesn't matter what your age is or even where you are at this moment in the world. So feel free to do self-exam, talk to your doctor, and have a control on your own body. Thank you so much for being with us today. If you would like to learn more from Legacy Podcast, feel free to like, share, and comment. And don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in our next episode. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
MCG, making communities great.